Well, folks, we've shown you a lot of the evidence. We've shown you a ton of the peer-reviewed papers in the science journals. We've specifically focused on how the evidence of this upcoming disaster includes a solar micronova. In fact, it's the only way to explain past geologic evidence and galactic astrophysical evidence. Meanwhile, at the same time, we have shown that the part of science that says no, a solar micronova is not possible keeps changing, keeps being wrong, and keeps being thrown into disarray by new discoveries. But for a moment here, I want you to listen to some other individuals, and then we'll wrap back around to what else seems to tell the exact same story.
We call them excursions, magnetic excursions, which is, a term that's well integrated in the literature now. And these are very short-lived reversals, but they're associated with minima in field intensity, and it's the minima in field intensity that are implicated because when you have low field strength, you enhance UVR.
It's a little bit difficult to go back and to say, well, the story is not exactly so. We have the phenomena from all places, from the bottom of the sea with ash and with nickel, which is of meteoric origin. The terrestrial axis moved. And that paleomagnetism proves us that terrestrial axis, that magnetic axis, and possibly like Runcorn and other of Manchester, claim that the Earth turned over. We know now from observation of Professor Danjon, director of Paris Observatory, that flares on the sun may influence the speed of rotation of the Earth, and there were sudden changes. We generally don't like to know that we are traveling on a accident-prone planet.
One of the things that you and I have been talking about are the idea of these micronova events on the sun, these periodic cyclical eruptions on many stars based on the Kepler-2 satellite data. And that as this stuff is sprayed out into the universe around in our solar system, and these things could have been blasted out from the sun in these periodic explosions, and that could have been deposited on the moon, on Earth, on Mars. The fact that they're only about 12 miles down indicates they're not deep penetrator meteor impacts. So it leads me now to believe that these magnetic anomalies, if not all of them, certainly some of them, could be from solar eruptions. And this is just solar material that is splattered out and these planets have run into in this huge cloud of debris once the sun releases these nova events.
What were all these ancient people saying? What were all these people trying to remember? We must take the words left to us in generations of oral histories and written records of observations in the sky as instances of events that were not the norm. They were so important and unusual that they have come through time as warnings left by our brothers and sisters of the ancient past. These events were not lunar eclipses or earthquakes. Now in this time, with our understanding of celestial mechanics, atmospheric, and geological sciences, we must try to make sense of these recorded events and untangle them from worship and prophecy. It's time to look at them for what they actually provide as a roadmap of things to come. We can ask the question, has the Earth stopped rotating for any length of time in recorded history? And the voices call out to us from the ancient Middle East. The book of Joshua in 1405 BC. O sun, stand still over Gibeon. O moon, over the valley of Aijalon. 1013. The sun stood still, and the moon stood motionless while the nation took vengeance on its enemies. The event is recorded in the scroll of the Upright One. The sun stood motionless in the middle of the sky. It did not set for a full day. And those same voices call out to us from ancient Peru. Also in 1405 BC, the 40th Inca Capac was Pachacuti, the reformer that started the worship of the sun god Inti. In 1405 there occurred a frightening darkness. Quote, good customs were forgotten, and people were given to all manner of vice. There was no dawn for 20 hours. After a great outcry, confessions of sins and sacrifices and prayers, the sun finally rose. Has the world experienced a global cataclysm before? And will it happen again? And what was remembered, and how is it described to begin again? The voices call out from the ancient American Indians, and this is the ninth and last sign. You will hear a dwelling place in the heavens above the earth that shall fall in a great crash. It will appear as a blue star. Very soon after this, the ceremonies of my people will cease. Has this cataclysm happened before? The voices call out from ancient China. There were seen fire-breathing dragons leaping into the sky. They call out from ancient Siberia. The earth was on fire from both horizons. And they call again from the ancient past in the voices of the Inca. At the Intihuatana was a stone cut with great precision to observe and measure the movements of the sun. The name meant that which binds the sun, and it makes it return, lest it disappear, returning the earth into a darkness that had occurred once before, according to the legends. Did the Inca, Chinese, Siberians, and the rest remember the last micronova event in their oral histories? We need to take these people seriously.
Probably the most interesting aspect of this entire process for me has been realizing that what the past science evidence suggests is happening, in fact, what it requires to happen, what the implications are from a galactic physics perspective, and what we are seeing observationally in real time these days matches up precisely with what is described in several different mythologies and religions. I want to take a look at some of my favorite quotes here. These two are from Joel. They talk about a lot of the things that are going to sound familiar to you. And I know that there is a hesitancy on the part of many observers. Anytime anything about religion is brought up, they just immediately shut down in the most closed-minded way humanly possible. But what's interesting is that I have seen science and religion start to match up. It's no longer, hey, you have to choose one or the other. And I'll tell you, I have spent a lot of the last 12 years studying everything from the grand cosmological scale down to tiny little subatomic particle physics. And I can tell you, this realm is not some random occurrence as the result of gravity and collisions and chaos and randomness over time, billions of years. No, this realm was engineered. There are patterns, there are processes. It acts and behaves as though it was engineered by something incredible. A couple more here, including my favorite one from Revelation about the vial being poured onto the sun and the power given to scorch men with fire. So many of these quotes from the Bible, and this is just a handful of them here. There's probably 20 other ones I could have used and I didn't, talking about the sun turning black, the sky rolling up, the great earthquake, mountains being moved, etc. Interestingly, I think that in the Quran, 81, this is some of the most interesting bits in that entire book as well, because they seem to tell the exact same story. And I've color-coded here some things that, for you who really know the Bible story, or of you who really know the catastrophism story and what's coming, these colored lines here in Quran 81 are going to be pretty familiar to you. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed hearing from some of the experts. I hope you've enjoyed our previous examinations of all the evidence and how all the evidence in several different fields of science seems to tell the same story. A lot of the experts are saying this as well, and it seems to match up pretty precisely with the stories that are held most dear by literally billions of people on this planet. Anyway, I'll see you in the morning for the Daily Show. Be safe, everyone.